day after day. At the deepest level, what people want isn't simply love. It's closeness, to feel understood, to feel accepted, to feel connected to another human being. And perhaps that's why intimacy matters so much. Because in a world that often feels busy, noisy, and disconnected, intimacy reminds us that we don't have to experience life alone. Most relationships don't end the way people imagine. There isn't always a dramatic fight. There isn't always betrayal. There isn't always a final goodbye. Sometimes two people slowly become strangers while still living in the same house. They wake up together, eat together, watch movies together. And yet, something feels different. Not because the love disappeared, but because the connection did. Psychologists call this intimacy. And most people don't realize how important it is until it's gone. When people hear the word intimacy, they often think about sex. But intimacy is much bigger than that. Intimacy is emotional closeness. It's the feeling that another person truly understands you. It's feeling safe enough to be yourself. Safe enough to be vulnerable. Safe enough to share your fears, your doubts, and the parts of yourself that you usually hide from the world. Sex can be one expression of intimacy. But intimacy begins long before that. It begins with connection. Human beings are social creatures. Our brains evolved in groups. For most of human history, isolation was dangerous. Connection increased the chances of survival. And because of that, the human brain developed powerful systems that reward closeness. One of those chemicals is oxytocin, sometimes called the bonding hormone. Oxytocin helps create feelings of trust, safety, and emotional closeness. In other words, your brain is literally designed to connect with other people. The strange thing is that modern relationships often provide less intimacy than people expect. Not because people care less, but because life becomes crowded. Work, stress, responsibilities, notifications, schedules. People spend more time communicating than ever before. Yet many feel less connected. Because communication and connection are not the same thing. You can exchange hundreds of messages every day and still feel emotionally distant. Intimacy requires presence, and presence has become increasingly rare. Relationships rarely break overnight. Distance usually grows slowly. A missed conversation, an ignored feeling, a stressful month, a difficult year. Each event seems small by itself, but over time they accumulate. And eventually people stop sharing things they once shared freely. Not because they want to, but because disconnection has quietly become the new normal. The most dangerous part is that this process often feels invisible while it's happening. This is one reason physical intimacy is important in many relationships. Not because it solves every problem, but because physical affection helps reinforce emotional connection. A hug, holding hands, sitting close together. Physical touch often communicates something words cannot. It tells another person, I see you. I am here. We are connected. Research consistently shows that physical intimacy can reduce stress, strengthen bonding, and improve relationship satisfaction. Not because of the act itself, but because of what it represents psychologically. Connection. One of the most common relationship traps works like this. People feel disconnected. Because they feel disconnected, they become less affectionate. Because they become less affectionate, they feel even more disconnected. And the cycle repeats. The relationship slowly enters a feedback loop. The less connection people feel, the harder connection becomes. Many couples assume the solution is to wait until they feel close again. But closeness often returns through action, not through waiting. The strongest relationships are rarely built on grand romantic gestures. They're built on small moments repeated consistently. A conversation without distractions, a genuine question, a long hug, a shared experience, a simple moment of attention. These moments seem insignificant, but intimacy grows through repetition. Just like trust, just like confidence, just like friendship. The small things become the big things. Every relationship is different. Some couples have active sex lives. Some have sex less frequently. Some relationships include little or no sex at all. And many of those relationships are still healthy and deeply fulfilling. Because intimacy is not measured by a number. It is measured by connection. What matters most is whether both people feel understood, respected, valued, and emotionally close. There is no universal formula, only honest communication. Many people spend years searching for the perfect partner, But long-term relationship success is often less about finding the perfect person and more about continuing to choose connection again and again and again, because intimacy isn't something you achieve once. It's something you maintain, something you nurture, something you build.